Okay, welcome everyone to some Demise's Newbie Corner. Today marks the first video of a very hopefully long series, where I effectively teach you guys how to play every god in the game, starting with your boy Okawaru, because he's the basic vanilla guy and he's good to kind of give you a benchmark for all the other gods. So the general strategy. Sorry, the general overview of these videos will be just kind of, I'll talk about the god, I'll explain all their abilities and stuff, and I'll explain how I use them, how they should be used, all that stuff. And then I will follow up with a quick, power ranking of the gods, because I know everyone loves power rankings, right? Everyone wants to disagree or agree on what they feel is the right choice for god. So for this run, I'm just gonna be doing this as a test one. Okawaru is like one of the more common gods, so I decided, hey, let's do him first, so I get a good benchmark, like I said. But later on, we'll probably be going to more random gods, more exotic ones, to give people a little bit more of an idea of how to play all these gods, because a lot of people just kind of don't understand what the hell they're doing. All right, so let's get started. Without further ado, I have to actually automatically do that. Alright, so Okawaru is the god of war. He's the god of combat, or whatever the hell you want to call it. And generally speaking, he is the god of being a fighting guy, if that makes sense. And I say fighting guy, and I don't mean melee guy, because ranged characters can also be Okawaru followers as well. So, as the god of war, he provides you with abilities to buff yourself in combat and make yourself better. And he also arms you over time, making you a lot more lucky, I guess, technically, by giving you god gifts of armor, weaponry, ammunition as the course of the game continues. I don't know how to phrase that less awkwardly. So the best way to get piety with him, to rack up that piety, is to kill stuff that is stronger than you. So what that means is a lot of fights between enemies that are like very trivial to you will not give you much piety, but fights where you fight something that's like quite a bit stronger than you or on the same level as you, kind of in terms of danger level, will give you a lot of piety. So for example, if you're somehow able to find Okawaru in D2 and then you somehow manage to kill a D3 ogre, you're going to get a ton of piety, whereas if you fight a bat, you're not going to get quite as much. It's pretty simple. It's very straightforward. You don't even have to really think about it, because you're going to be killing most of the things you meet anyway. So the piety is really straightforward. Just kill stuff, and eventually you'll get piety. You'll get more piety for fighting stuff that's stronger than you, but it doesn't really matter because you're going to be killing them anyway. And Okawaru is one of those gods where you actually have a penance like conduct thing. So if you harm your own allies, so that means like hitting them intentionally, hitting them with an AoE thing, I think immolating them, and just generally like shooting through them or doing anything like that, Okawaru will get pissed off at you, and he will temporarily, and I say temporarily, but depending on how low level you are, it could actually be permanently, be pissed off, so you won't be able to use his god abilities, and he'll also send fleets of high level depths / vaults level enemies at you, surrounding you, which is potentially lethal to an early game character, and also quite potentially lethal in the even in the 3-rune game. It's quite dangerous. So generally speaking, you want to not really have too many allies on the screen, or if you do have allies, you don't want to walk around while confused, because you might hit them. You definitely don't want to like try to shoot through them or anything, shoot your wands or anything. Just be very careful. That's it, and it's not that bad. It's not all that bad. I think the chance of you I think realistically you won't, unless you're actively like doing stuff that's that dangerous. You're not going to hurt your own allies. It's pretty hard to do that. But basically, all that translates to is if you get confused and you have allies next to you, quaff a curing instead of just attacking, because you're going to end up hurting yourself a lot with Okawaru. And of course, abandoning Okawaru makes him pissed off at you, and he'll send that god wrath quite frequently, and it is quite painful. I have had characters not die but come pretty close and had to burn a couple of consumables just from abandonment, and that's even in the late game. Like, generally speaking, gods should not be abandoned, by the way. I should preface the entire thing with this. gods shouldn't be abandoned unless you're doing extended. And even then, it's like, I'd rather you just, stick with one god if you can, potentially. Some people do the Okawaru, the Shining One, as a pretty good way to get through extended. But there are actually players that play with Okawaru the whole game. It's not that bad. But yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later. So let's talk about his upsides and downsides. So Okawaru makes you better at combat, both range and melee. Like I said before, it gives you weapons, armor, and ammunition. But one of his big upsides that he has is that he's so fast to get power. So we're going to talk about his abilities later on, but Okawaru effectively, from the time you get 1 pip of piety, becomes one of the strongest gods in the game, just because of how brutally powerful he becomes once you get that 1 pip. The heroism ability is really strong, and I'll explain why in a sec. But he's also really easy to use, and he's also really consistent in how good he is. Okawaru only has 2 abilities, and your main options for using the god is use ability 1, use ability 2, use abilities 1 and 2 at the same time. It's like, that's it. Generally speaking, you either just use ability 1 or both abilities at the same time. And it's really, really good, really, really reliable, really consistent, really powerful. Like, that's pretty much it. The downside, I would say, is that he's very utilitarian. And what I mean by that is that he gets the job done, he's not exactly exciting. Well, again, there's merits, there's points that you can make, like, getting free, like, kind of acquirements every so often is really exciting. You get to see the new loot, right? That's interesting, kind of. But other than that, like, let's be real, Okawaru is kind of boring. He's the bread and butter, vanilla character. But, you guys know me at this point. I dig that shit. I'm totally into, like, the vanillas. Totally into, like, boring shit that works really well. That's my jam. So, for a new player, he offers some interesting stuff, he offers some really powerful stuff, but not necessarily stuff that a new player cares about. But basically the whole point of this video is trying to convince you that, this is a god that you should care about, because he's really good. Anyway, let's talk about him. His first ability, heroism. So you get heroism at 1 pip of piety, which is why I said that he's very powerful once you're at your first pip of piety. So you can you get your first pip of piety by, killing a couple of things. Usually it takes about a floor or so to get a pip. Maybe a little longer if you're fighting nothing really dangerous. Usually a unique at your level, on the floor that you're on, will probably be enough to get you to 1 pip, almost guaranteed. So heroism costs 2 MP, some food, and 1 piety, which is really cheap. So if you didn't know, piety goes from 0 to 200. That gives you an idea of how much 1 piety costs. And its effect is it raises all your combat skills by 5. So that means all your melee combat, all your melee skills, your dodging, your armor, your shields, your stealth even, all your range combat stuff, and your fighting will all go up by 5 temporarily. Temporarily, not permanently, temporarily. So this is actually really, really good. So if you consider why all the players in the game say, oh, the first thing you should try to do is train to min delay. Well, if you think about how much that gives in the early game, so say for example making your, you have 15 long blades and you're using a greatsword which has min delay of 20, use heroism, you're at min delay. That's crazy amounts of damage that you're putting out. Crazy amount of like extra attack speed, minimum attack delay. Right, you're hitting those really good points. You're also getting a bit of dodge, bit of armor, bit of shields, depending on what you're using. So you'll get a bunch of defense and a bunch of offense. It's very powerful. Of course, it doesn't increase your invocations, your evocations, or your magic, but those are hardly relevant. And this is also flat scaling, which is what makes Okawaru so great at dealing with, at like scaling into that late game, because it will increase your skills from 0 to 5, yes, but it'll also increase your abilities from 22 to 27, and that's a huge EXP boost. Insane. Absolutely insane. Like a character with 22 dodging or armor, to get that to 27 would cost an extraordinary amount of EXP. But you don't have to, because you can just use heroism and get it to 22, max it out, and get like a million EXP. I don't actually know if it might actually be more than a million EXP. I actually have no idea how much EXP you need to get from level 22 to 27 on any skill, assuming 0 aptitudes. And again, with flat scaling, it doesn't even consider aptitudes. So all your like -3 aptitudes will go up by 5 anyway. So an ogre, for example, can just not train armor for a bit, have 5 armor for free. You basically start the first 5 armor for nothing. It's cheap as hell. It's almost every fight. It's really good. One thing to note, of course, is that it doesn't increase your hit points from fighting. So your HP will not go up just because you got 5 extra levels of fighting. Probably just make it so that it's not a heal. Makes sense. So yeah, my notes on this is that it's cheap as hell, it's really powerful, and you can spam it for any non-trivial fight. So for example, if you're in Lair and you find 3 yaks, might as well heroism. Whatever. I don't know. Whatever. Do it. Who's going to stop you? The duration of this is low because it got nerfed in a few patches ago, or a few like versions ago. So I like to train invocations up early to get it up higher. Usually I'll train invocations to about 8. You don't have to immediately rush it. You can just train it alongside whatever the hell you're training already. But training it to 8 is pretty good. I think at 12 invocations, the duration is the same as the pre-nerf duration. So take what you like, make what you will of that. Jesus. So yeah, it's pretty low. I think the duration of heroism and finesse is like, let me check. Damn it, man. It says like, I think it's like 10 base, like 10 turns minimum, plus 1d invocations, plus 1d invocations. So 10 plus 2 times 1d invocations. So it can last for quite a while, up to I think a maximum of, oops, that's not what I wanted. That's on the wrong fucking monitor. That's the one that's recorded. I think it's down to a max of 100 turns, which is not too bad. Obviously you're never going to use 100 turns worth of combat, but it's really good anyway. One thing that I will note is that the ability can also be thought of as a way to train magic as well, because you can put all the EXP that you were gonna put into melee into your magic, which means that heroism makes for a decent amount of scoured play. If you actually enjoy hybrid play, heroism, like Okawaru, is actually a really good choice because he makes your melee really good, and then you can just train magic anyway. It's really quite decent. Okay, on the his next ability is insane. One of the strongest melee buffs in the game, basically. Oh, what? Did I remove something? Whoops, I must have removed something. Sorry. I swear I had... Didn't I have like a thing here? Here it is. Okay, here we go. The duration is 10 plus 3 times 1d invis plus 1 invocations. Sorry. Not 1 times. My bad. I was wondering where... Like, I think I removed that because I didn't want to talk too much about formulas. It doesn't really matter, realistically, what the formula is. You just kind of, like, intuitively understand it. But, yeah, the duration for both finesse and heroism is actually the same. It uses the same formula. But I like I said, I like to have invocations about 12 to get finesse down fail rate. So finesse is unlocked at 5 pips of piety, and it's one of the strongest melee buffs in the game. It costs quite a bit of MP and a decent amount of piety, 3, and some hunger, but it halves your attack delay, and this goes beyond min delay. So that is freaking insane. Yeah, it doesn't stack with haste or berserk, but it doesn't really matter because haste is good for things other than attack delay, and so is berserk. Like, berserk gives you might and extra HP, haste gives you movement speed. And technically action delay down, not just attack delay. But generally speaking, finesse is insane. It's just really, really good because it effectively means that for every attack that you would have had normally, you attack twice now. And yeah, I used a bit of maths here. Like, if you have a battle axe at min delay, so 20 skill, or even 15 if you use heroism, you swing at 0.7 attack. So every 0.7 turns, you can attack. Meaning that basically every 7 turns, you attack 10 times, if you want to round it out like that. If you halve that with finesse, you're now at 0.35 attack delay, meaning you effectively attack 20 times in 7 turns. And if you're using a battle axe, that's a lot of damage. That's a hell of a lot of damage. And that's, of course, just the one example. I'm sure every other example works as well. I believe that there is a cap on delay, because I know that quick blades don't go to half. They go like a little bit over half. I don't exactly know what the number is, but I think quick blades go to like 0.3 attack delay normally, but they can't. I don't think they go down to 0.1. I think they go to like 0.2 or something like that. I don't really remember. Sorry. But that's about the only cap that you have on min delay. Sorry, on attack delay from finesse. So it's really good. Usually you'll use finesse plus heroism. I generally wouldn't use finesse on its own. Like, you can, but like just chuck heroism. If you're fighting an enemy that's dangerous enough to warrant finesse, you should be heroisming at the same time anyway. But yeah, you pair this with heroism for any tough fight. You pair heroism and consumable and finesse if you have an insanely tough fight. So for example, if I'm fighting the Royal Jelly, which can be found in the slime pits, I will heroism, finesse, might. Or heroism, finesse, haste, might. Haste might just be for running away, right? Or haste, agility, might, right? That's what I'm like considering using consumables for, that kind of fight. Or if I'm in a lot of danger early. So generally your strategies with these two abilities is going to be as such. You fight, you start the fight with heroism if it looks like it's a non-trivial fight. And what I mean by that is you will take any amount of damage realistically. Like if you'll take more than 20% of your life in the fight, use heroism, right? Pretty simple. If you're going to take more than like 50%, heroism, finesse, guaranteed every time, easy. If you don't know if you're going to live or die, heroism, finesse, haste, might, everything. Just blow the entire arsenal of whatever you have. Just do it. It's fine. But yeah. So the Royal Jelly fight, for example, you might die if you fight it with no buffs, so buff up as much as you want. Every unique can basically be heroism finessed if they want. I have plenty of examples on the channel of playing Okawaru. You'll be able to scrape through. The beginner greater player run probably has a bunch. I think even the even the Kobold at the very end was Okawaru, probably. But if he's not, I'll probably do an Okawaru run like tomorrow, so you might be able to check it out. Merfolk Transmuter. Yeah, so it's a really good ability. It should just be decent in general. Is this the last? Oh yeah, so the third thing that Okawaru does is he gives you gifts. And I've just kind of put a couple down there at the bottom. This is from the last 3 games that I played with Okawaru. This is not like a crazy... Like, I haven't cherry-picked these games. These are literally just from the last 3, so it's pretty good. If you train ranged and throwing, you'll actually get ammo very frequently, to the point where you won't need to worry about ammo for the entire game. For that reason alone, many ranged characters will actually choose to pick Okawaru or Trog just because they both gift ammunition, which makes it very easy for you to kind of play the game. You don't have to worry about ammo conservation at all. Though, to be honest, it's not really that big of a consideration. I honestly think that characters like Centaur can easily pick Dithmenos or Fedass or whatever the hell they want, and there's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, if you don't, you'll still get some throwing weapons occasionally, but you kind of just ignore it anyway. As for armor and weapons, they're kind of worse than acquirement scrolls on average, but that doesn't mean that they're bad by any stretch of the imagination. On average, you'll get pretty much most of your stuff coming from Okawaru anyway. Like, look at the last couple of games that I played, right? Okawaru gave me a hat that I used for the whole game. It gave me gloves that I used for the whole game. It gave me crystal plate armor, which is insane. And then it gave me the Gauntlets of War. That one was kind of late, but, you know, it's good. Yeah, so I should probably have put this in the in the overview here or something. Like, who would use Okawaru? So Okawaru is useful for pretty much everyone who doesn't want to be a pure mage. You can pick him on pretty much every class, every race, and he will be decent because of his heroism finesse being like non-scaling melee buffs, or melee/ranged buffs. They're just really good. So a Minotaur can run it, Tengu can run it, like a Troll can run it, Kobold can run it, and like pretty much every race can run it. arguably, like, Deep Elf doesn't want to run it, but they can. It's not that good. You know what I mean? It's not the best god for them generally. Mages can run it if they want, but it's not as good. Like I said, as long as you're not objectively trying to like make Okawaru bad, he's not going to be bad. He's going to be quite good. You can pick him on whatever you want, really. Like, even stabbers have quite good utility with Okawaru. Like, I have run Spriggan Enchanters of Okawaru before when I just found him on D2, because again, heroism gives you +5 stealth. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. And he also gives you a quick blade eventually at some point. So, I'm happy to pick him if I see him. On D2, he's probably one of the best gods in the game, because the second you get to 1 pip, you're really broken. Like, it's almost impossible to kill you from a regular fight. Like, obviously, if someone hits you with a wand of acid, you'll die. But, like, most melee enemies will not be able to kill you with heroism unlocked. It's really good. So he's very all-around. He's very powerful for that reason. So here's, like, the part that's probably going to be a little bit, I guess, controversial, but probably not. Like, this, I predict that this will eventually be controversial, but this is my overall ratings by me. I don't really know if I should add any more or less. If you have any suggestions for them, let me know. But this is just basically how I've rated the god. So flexibility A, I just explained to you why he's flexible, right? He can be used everywhere. His reliability is A+. If you play Okawaru, you probably won the game already. His early game power is A, or I'd say even A+, like I said. The only one that I could think of that can beat Okawaru would be like Trog and Gozag. Trog because Berserk is better than Heroism for the early game, and Gozag because the second you get him, you get Potion Petition, which is broken. His extended viability is like a B or a C. He's actually quite good in extended. Heroism Finesse is still damn good in the late game. Heroism not so much, but Finesse is still really good. It's like basically a better haste potion for melee. So it's not all that bad. I think he's underrated in extended just because people like the Shining One better. His investment requirement is super slow. It's super small. It's 8 to 12 invo. It's really cheap. So for 8 to 12 invo, you get a free boost for everything. And his difficulty complexity is low. And for that reason alone, I will put his overall strength at A. I probably won't be putting any characters on A+. So you can consider this to be the highest rating that I'm going to give. Because I think A+ doesn't make any sense for an overall god rating. For A+ to occur, I think that a god should be completely incomparable with any other god in the game. Like, just miles better. Like, like, to the point where you would be stupid to pick anything that was not that god. For every playstyle, it doesn't make any sense. But for an A, I think, like, for pretty much everything, he's like top tier, and he only has like 1 or 2 weaknesses. And I think the 1 or 2 weaknesses kind of here is just if you want to, for some reason, pick a mage. That's like his only real weakness, and I don't think that's a weakness at all because it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any critiques on the way that I've rated my character. I've tried to explain, of course, every single point of this rating system. I would like to add more facets to it, but this is the kind of stuff that I'm trying to make. I'm trying to make it universal, so hopefully it's not too controversial for this one. Like I said, I used Okawaru as a benchmark. So yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, I guess. Okawaru is not likely to change in the next however many patches it is when you watch this. If you are watching this from like after this is posted, like maybe a week, a month, a year, however long you are, shout outs to those of you guys in 2019, by the way. Shout outs to you if you're watching this. Yeah, if you're watching just make sure you check the description. If it's outdated, I'll let you know. If it's if this rating system changes, I'll also let you know. But yeah, it will be pretty. I assume that Okawaru won't change. He hasn't been changed since, like, basically he got added to the game, other than when he could haste and might. Actually, he was changed. Never mind. Ignore that. He's just really good. That's my overall statement. I will probably figure out a video to link that will talk about a character that plays Okawaru, and I'll just put it in the description. Might not be the best example, but it'll just be an example. So yeah, Let me know what you think, and I will see you all. Got that. Can I restart the recording? Can someone cut that? Okay, let's just start that again. Hey guys, welcome. Oh shit, I haven't started it. Hey guys, welcome to Demise Newbie corner. Nah, I'm kidding. I can't be bothered to edit these videos. Sorry, I will eventually edit them, but today's not that day. If you guys want to edit my videos, leave a like. If you don't want to edit the videos, also leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Because, you know, those are all things that matter to me. Sorry, I'm just trying to make it cut to a 25. Aw, damn it, I missed the 1 second. Alright, sorry. I was trying to make the video length nice and neat, but I missed it. Anyway, see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed. And, you know, don't eat too much carbohydrates.